I guess, Doug, any update on how many players you think are going to be available for your upcoming game?
Uh, we actually had 6 today. Uh, no, I mean I don't have anything else. We're still waiting. These new guidelines have made some things tricky. I mean, it was a standard 5 days, but I think they probably had that policy. It seemed like for about 5 days, and then they adjusted it, and so it's a 10-day span. So after 5 days, you have to test. Your test has to go the right way after 5 days, and so nobody's testing. It doesn't seem like anybody's testing out after 5 days, and so we're on 7 days on some of the kids. But yeah, right as of today's practice, we were at 6, so we're down one. We'll see.
Yeah, we were talking to Coach Howland about this earlier today, but just how difficult is it, preparing for a game when you kind of have no idea who will and won't be available come Thursday?
Yeah, it's not the easiest for sure, but there's always something to do. And to be honest with you, and again, in terms of just straight preparation, in terms of we want to get this look versus this team in a 5-on-5 setting, that's virtually impossible. But I can also say this: I've been guilty at this over the course of my career, and probably especially on the first 10 years of coaching, is I never felt like we had enough time to get the proper shooting done, the proper passing, the proper two-man game, stuff like that, because you got too consumed with just straight team strategy, tactics, and that kind of thing. So we definitely have more time with 6 players out there, with 7 players out there, to do some of that skill work that's definitely needed throughout the season. So while we can't do some things for preparation the way we would want to do it, there are some other things that we can do at a very high level, and like it or not, we're choosing to go all out in those areas. Andy, go ahead.
Hey, Doug. With 6 players, I mean, I think the SEC guideline is that 7 play. You have to have at least 7 players to play a game or something like that. Does that put Thursday's game kind of in jeopardy at this point, or you're hoping to play?
Hoping to play. We don't know yet. Yeah, seven's the magic number.
Is there a certain point of like? I know this is probably like too. This is speculation at this point, but like, is there a certain time that you need to figure out you can play because you need to travel and everything like that? I mean, is there like a cutoff, like drop dead date on? Hey, we either play or we don't.
Uh, it's a little bit gray. As soon as we know, we try to let everybody else know. Uh, so again, you try to wait until the last possible second, of course, but at some point in time, everybody needs to know and move on and make proper adjustments. But in terms of any specific guidelines, no. It's just be responsible to your team and the team you're going to play.
I know, this Rakia is obviously such a big part of this offense, but without her for the past couple games, I mean, the offense has still played at a high level. I mean, what's kind of impressed you just with what you guys have been able to do without your leading scorer on the court?
Yeah, it's been a little bit different. We were already small with Rakia, I felt, in relation to SEC type talent, but we just went a little bit smaller because we had to, and the ball is moving still. These practices after Christmas, and this isn't uncommon throughout the country, that teams start to gel a little bit better for the most part. They start to understand some terminology. They start to understand how their particular coach may want them to play, and I think that's happened. The unfortunate thing about Rakia is not just that we don't get to use her great skill and she's a heck of a player. The unfortunate thing is that she's missing all of these practices. Not her fault. She wants to be out there so bad, and she wants to play in those games so bad. However, these practices, the ball's been moving really well, and the focus of these SEC games on top of us, I think, has helped our concentration to the details, our focus on the details, and And their different players have stepped up and stepped into different roles, and they haven't batted an eye. And I've been really proud of their mental approach to all of this. And I think we've been playing some pretty good basketball for who we are.
John, go ahead.
Doug, you talked about the other day after the game about, once players start to see a little bit of success, like that helps them. But, I mean, you guys have been able to win these games with 7 and 8 players. Do you think part of it's been because it's kind of been like your team's had a chip on its shoulder because it's been so undermanned? And has that been a reason for that success with this limited amount of players?
Yeah, I've never really bought into the chip on the shoulder thing. I usually think that chip weighs people down more than it helps them. I think initially, maybe in the first couple minutes of a game, that type of locker room talk is helpful, and then it disappears really fast. I just think they're really competitive kids more than anything else, and I don't think they feel like anybody's slighting them. I don't feel like they're listening to outside noise. They're just listening to each other, maybe the coaching staff, in like, what do we need to do right now to be the most successful we can be, whatever it is. So if I say, hey, the first 4 possessions, we're going to run this action, and it's going to get down to about 10 seconds on the clock, take a layup at any point in time. I said, we need to do this so that we can control the pace of play and set the tone for this game. Nobody is saying, well, I need to shoot that ball. I need this touch. I need this. No, that's out the window. They are all in to whatever we need on that particular game to give us the best chance to hang in there at the end. And so, but that's what competitive kids do. And so that was, I don't know if it's anything that we've done. I don't think we've destroyed anything, and we've probably encouraged it. But they had that in second grade. Like, who the competitive kids are in second grade, and that doesn't usually change. Sometimes people can grow and mature into a little bit better of a competitor, but when you have true competitors, that was brought in here.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah,
Recording stopped.
Follow up, Coach. When you guys are playing these games, I mean, regardless of how many players you do have available, have you kind of felt that there's a benefit that you're at least getting out there, not having to take extended amount of time off?
Yeah, and again, if you go back to that competitive theme, everybody wants to play. We've practiced. We've talked about game plans. We've talked about the best way for this team to play, and then we like those tests to see if we were right in the preparation, if we were right in how we practice the team. So yeah, anytime we get a chance to get out there, it's we want to do that, and we've been very fortunate too. There's things that have to go your way. We can't get into foul trouble. You can't have relationship problems. You can't have outside problems. I mean, you have to be so sound when you're dealing with these smaller numbers, that these are normal 18 to 22-year-old problems that I was just talking about. Everybody has those, but we can't afford them right now. I mean, maybe after the season you guys can have them, but not now. We have to be extremely smart in how we're guarding the ball, and we do value putting a hand on the ball and getting steals and deflections, and that's how we have to play. But at the same time, if you're reaching and slapping and trying to bat down and trying to make sure that we block a lot of shots. Every time you try to do that, there's a potential for a referee to make a 50-50 call, and we know how those go. Not always in your favor, so we have to be very smart on that thing. So we have been fortunate. I'm not going to say that it's just because we play great basketball, because we're really gelling as a team. There's some luck involved, but I think we've also put the percentages in our favor that we can stay in these games and have the chance to pull some of these out, and we have these last 2.
John, go ahead.
Doug, Danae winning SEC Freshman of the Week. I mean, One, what has she kind of meant to you in this program so far? And two, what does it kind of say about her that she's been able to contribute in this type of capacity when you guys have such limited players available and help you guys win games at such a young age?
Yeah, well, it tells you how good of a player she is. She's got a little bit of Maya in her with instincts, and a lot of times with a young player, in you're teaching them and coaching them a position or an area on the floor, let's say defensively, and a lot of coaches would put a piece of tape right down the middle of the court, and that's called the help line. And so the younger players, and especially if they're compliant, and she is, they will be on the help line when they need to. But they're doing it because the coach told them to be on the help line. And then as they mature and they are able to see the game a little bit better, they realize they're on that help line so that they can actually make plays, not just to satisfy a coach. So she's compliant in positioning, but she's also got the Maya instincts and to go make plays from those spots. And you have to watch film deeply, and I'm glad that so many people are appreciating her talent. But I don't always appreciate it as much as I do after I watch film and I see how many different ways she impacts the game on that defensive floor, making a rotation when a guard is getting beat on the baseline and she leaves her man. And again, the hardest thing for a freshman to do is to leave their man because their man may score. So she will provide help, and then she just expects that someone else is going to cover hers when she leaves. And we've been very good at being able to veer off and cover for her because, and again, she can end possessions as well as anybody for us. Obviously, Maya ends them when she gets those steals and deflections, but on the back line, she is a little bit of a shot blocker, but you wouldn't say like she is a rim protector. She's a rim protector with her mind. She's a rim protector with her heart and in her anticipation and her intelligence.